It's another new week, which means another ACOLYTE episode is upon us, and it's aptly titled Night. And episode 5 is all-out action as May's dark side master has revealed himself to the Jedi on Kofar and attacked most of them. Most of the episode is pure lightsaber action, which no doubt a certain type of fan who only wants that type of stuff will love. The Jedi are completely caught off guard by the dark side user, and he quickly dispatches several of them through great skill with his saber and Cortosis weave helmet and gauntlet. This is pretty cool because Cortosis is a material pulled over from the Legends canon, which when struck by a lightsaber causes the saber to short out and turn off for a time, which is exactly what it does here and gives the Darksider an edge in battle. The fight choreography is absolutely fantastic throughout the entire episode, and the main highlight for the episode as well. It's fast paced but easy to follow and very violent, not shying away from Jedi getting stabbed or in two of their cases turned into a shish kebab, or should I say a Sith kebab. While the Jedi battle the Darksider, May and Osha both try and escape, with May running into Jeki and Osha being taken by Yord back to the ship to safety. The Jeki and May duo is really quite cool, since last episode we got a lot of Osha and Jeki and they had a really cool relationship going where there was an attraction and like a friendship, and it was really warm and inviting. There was a bit of banter, and now we get the other side of that with the other sister, and I like that Jeki is trying to relentlessly arrest May for her crimes, which leads to a fantastic little kung fu inspired fight throughout Kelnaka's abode. This is also a really neat bit of character work for Jeki, as since when even shit's going down, she remembers the mission and is trying to complete it for her master. It's something even the Darkside user commends her for doing. Osha and Yord's team up, on the other hand, felt like the weakest part of the episode. Osha manages to save Yord from the Darksider, and they run off after Sol tells Osha to go to the ship, and Yord is meant to take her there. And for most of this episode, it's just them kind of running around the misty forests. Yord's trigger-happy nature did come through a little bit, and it was real nice to see, since he's really eager to subdue Osha if she steps out of line. But I wish more was done with that, since we've seen several times throughout the series so far that he kind of slightly abuses his power. Like in the first episode, he goes to use Jedi mind trick powers even before he ends up getting any information. He just resorts to that as like a first tactic, and we've seen him pull his lightsaber countless times, so I kind of wish we got to see a little bit more of that throughout the episode, but we really don't. He's just kind of running scared, which is in itself quite interesting, since, you know, he's all sort of talk, but then when the shit goes down, he's like legitimately scared of this Darkside user. Eventually, all the Jedi left to fight the Darksider are dealt with, and he is confronted by Sol. And there's some really interesting lines between the characters here, like the Darksider asking why Sol doesn't remember him, as if they have met before. They actually have met before in the show, and it's a little bit of a spoiler for later on in this review, but I take that to mean like they've actually met before that last initial meeting, and maybe there is some sort of history between these two characters that has yet to be revealed. And I saw people theorizing that maybe these two characters could also be related, and it would be a nice sort of parallel running with May and Osha as well. I don't think that's the case. I just think that maybe they've just had a run in, like, possible the Darkside user was from the Jedi Temple, you know, maybe he was an ex-Padawan, because that's usually how these Sith types come about. They're born from the Jedi Order or offshoots of the Jedi Order. So it'll be interesting if we end up getting something from that, or it could have just been they were messing with Master Sol and trying to get him to remember that other meeting we saw a couple of episodes ago, but he couldn't thanks to the helmet he is wearing, which allows him to mask not only his identity but his mind from the Jedi. The Darksider defeats Sol but doesn't kill him though, just sort of knocks him down, and decides to set his sights on May and Jeki, battling Sol's Padawan in probably the best fight of the entire episode. I want to give props to Daphne Keane, the actress who plays Jeki, as she did most of her saber work during this fight, and thanks to that the camera can get in really nice and close, and you can see the actors in focus, and we see them almost entirely for like one whole long shot, and it's really brilliant. It's fast, it's kinetic, it's really well done, really great moves in it. It's not just people just hitting sabers together. There's actually like punches thrown and kicks thrown, which is never something you really see. Jackie even gets to dual wield sabers as she has taken Kalanaka's saber from May, and we get some great dual wielding action, and after a really cool team up with the returning Soul, it looks like they're about to beat the Darksider. Only the Darksider has some surprises of his own, as it turns out his saber can come apart in the middle and create a smaller Shoto blade, which he uses to shiv Jackie 3 times, killing her. Jackie's death took me completely by surprise. I definitely thought she was going to be a safe character who gets to live at least for a little while longer, maybe even survive the entire series, but I do get the feeling that most of the characters in this show will probably be dead by the end of the season. With her death though, the identity of the Darksider is revealed as she was able to knock off his mask, and surprise surprise, it's Quimir, since of course it was pretty obvious that it was going to be him, though I did think for a moment that with it being so obvious that it was him, I thought he might have been a red herring and it would have been someone else, but I guess they just kind of came back round on that and just made it him. On top of killing Jackie, Quimir also kills Yord, who heroically returns to try and help the others, only to have his neck broken. Along with Jackie, this was another death that really surprised me. Really not because of who it happened to, but how it happened, since it was just so unceremonious. Yord is just killed and then Quimir literally just tosses his body aside like it's nothing. Quimir takes May hostage, and I love the language he uses here, since he doesn't refer to himself as a Sith, he just cites that the Jedi might call him that because of what he is doing. And that's a really interesting way to look at it, as the Jedi really call anyone using the Force outside of the Jedi Order a dark side user or a Sith or a witch, you know, so it's a critique on the Jedi themselves, and we've seen that true as well, as with the witches in episode 3, the Jedi didn't like people outside of the Order practicing the Force and were actively trying to stop them and take their children. There's also a hint that this might also relate back to what we saw earlier on in the episode where he confronted Soul and asked if he remembered him, since maybe he is indeed a former Jedi and one who maybe dabbled in the dark side or like wanted to extend his learning outside of the usual parameters of the Order, and he was cast out because of it. I really love all of the little ways and hints that we see in the show of the Jedi of this area being a little grey when it comes to the rules regarding them and others. After some quick thinking by Osha, however, who uses Pip as a flashlight, the Darksider is carted away by the light-attracted bugs, leaving what little survivors there are to escape. Now the show isn't done its twists yet, as Soul is stunned by May when she tries to escape again, but Osha stops her, wanting to reunite with her sister properly and bring her in with Soul so they can work all of this out. But May ends up knocking her sister out and taking her identity and place with Soul on the ship, leaving Osha at the mercy of Quimir, who ends up looking after her for a little bit and seemingly healing her of her wounds, which makes me think maybe this was all part of the plan. I would love if it was revealed that May and Osha aren't who they say they are, and May is actually Osha and Osha is actually May this whole time, and Osha was the one who set the fire at the village, not May. There is definitely a twist going to be happening with the identities of both the twins, like them switching the places, and how Quimir goes and looks after Osha, knowing full well it's Osha and not May. There's definitely something there, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the show does with that as a twist. Episode 5 of The Acolyte was an awesome action-packed 30 odd minutes that revealed the show's big villain in a shocking, brutal way, literally cutting down our cast by half. I was thoroughly impressed by the fight choreography, and hopefully that's something that we get to see more of as we enter the back half of the season. I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10.